Hello and welcome to my palmistry channel for guiding hands readings. My name's Asha and I am a palm reader based in London. I provide readings to hopefully give people clarity, confidence in themselves and optimism for the future. I thought it'd be a good way to introduce you all by indicating different aspects of the hands that I look at in a reading. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's begin. My sitter today is Jennie, a fellow woman of magic. She reads human design and astrocartography, and if you want to check her out, I'll put her links in the description below. The first thing I usually notice is how big or small the hands are. Well, you can actually check if your hand is big or small by, if you put the base to your chin, and then if your finger reaches your hairline, which it doesn't, you've got small hands. Okay. So you can tell them that now.
Oh, okay.
And people with small hands are happy-go-lucky people. They don't like too many responsibilities or being too serious generally. So I think that fits more with you than being a large-handed person.
I wished.
But it doesn't mean that you're not responsible. It's just kind of like you'd rather not have to be.
100%.
Next, I'll check the hand type by measuring the length and the width of the palm and the length of the middle finger. The hand types correspond to the 4 classical elements. So you're also a water hand. So water hands, people who are dreamy, intuitive, creative, caring, can be introverted, but with your deep fiery lines, there's a bit of balance there. So like introverted and extroverted. People who should avoid emotional people and competitive people and chaotic people. But because of your caring nature, probably end up getting drawn towards them because you want to take care of them. You want them to feel good about themselves. Here I'm taking note of the general condition of their hands. Good skin texture shows that you're someone who's very social, and nice bounce to your hands as well, which shows that you're spirited and have a lot of good energy and are healthy. Next, I tend to look at the length of the fingers, noting if any are particularly long or short, indicating the presence of skills and talents in a person. So good, well-rounded skill set here. Your Apollo finger on this hand, which hand are you right with? Right hand. This one's slightly taller, it's slightly longer. So this shows a sort of like abundance in creativity, self-expression, personal style is very important. Someone who values being happy and being fulfilled. Somewhat artistic or like theatrical, and you'll be the type of person that people are drawn to because of their personality rather than anything like sort of like money or influence or things like that. Immediately I see your thumbs with a very bendy outward curve. So someone who's very open, very generous and honest, probably has a lot of different interests and hobbies. Good size thumb. Longer in this hand, shorter on this hand. So that would suggest that with time, maybe from learning or your environment, you've been able to muster up motivation more, or being able to have a bit more like get up and go, or to be able to see projects to their end, that kind of thing. Left and right hands have a few different interpretations, so I'll sprinkle those in too. Alternatively, this could mean, with this being your public hand, that people see you as more of a sort of like organised, punctual person, but you see yourself as not so much, or...
Absolutely spot on.
Or you might be so in your work life and not so much in your personal life, for example. Like these are a few tips. Checking which direction the fingers are leaning when relaxed can divulge where focus and energy is being directed. The writing hand shows current or work focus, and passive will show historic or personal focus. So these two fingers lean towards each other here. When Saturn leans towards Apollo, this shows, it's kind of saying you might be putting your creative projects or your happiness on the back burner for now and more focused on your responsibilities or things that you think you should be focusing on because you think that they might improve things for others or the bigger picture right now. But what this shows is that when you do focus on yourself, you can go really far with it.
Okay. What does it mean? Because I noticed this finger was leaning into that one. What does that mean when they were relaxed?
This would mean that maybe historically you sort of relied on security when it came to your goals, and would prioritize security, maybe having a stable income or having like job security, that kind of thing, when it came to plan your goals over things that you just wanted to do because
It's true.
You enjoyed them, whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there definitely leans. It does. There's not so much of a direct curve in as there is on this finger. A common misconception is that we only look at the palms in a palm reading. You might be surprised to find that a lot of information is found not just within the lines, but on the fingers and the nails too. When looking at the fingers, I take note of the type of tip they possess, which will alter your approach to certain aspects of life. And these are slightly pointed as well. So when it comes to success, work, achievements, your goals in life, you'll be a bit more idealistic in terms of you'll have a very specific vision in mind. It might not necessarily make sense to anybody, and it might not make sense to you, but it's sort of more of a knowing or understanding that this is just something that I have to do. Like, there's no other way about it. And this kind of makes sense as well with you used to have pointed thumbs as well. And the thumbs sort of tell us about how we take action in the world. Very nice square nails. This shows someone who's very kind and honest and down to earth. Where we see that they're a little bit more narrow in these areas, you might be a bit more careful or perfectionist. So this being on your Mercury finger, on your left hand, maybe sort of like in the past or internally when it comes to self-expression or communication or finances, you're a bit more careful, you're a bit less likely to take big risks.
What does it mean if my nails are pointy? Because sometimes I have them as like a soft point.
Do you mean sort of like manicured soft point? Or it's more to do with sort of where the nail grows up to on the bed.
Okay, I've got you.
So
Okay.
Looking at the side of the hand directly underneath the little finger, we can find the lines of affection. But now I'm going to coin lines of connection, as these are important relationships, romantic and friendships, as well as business partners. In your first section. And it's a very long, deep line. This would be sort of maybe in your early 20s. And the line is very long, very deep, which shows a deep connection and a very long-lasting relationship. So potentially a really good friend that you made.
I was married for 16 years.
Oh, wow. All right. Full of surprises.
And so, yeah, he was my best friend. He still is.
That's so lovely. And then it's a little bit more complicated. So there's like some sort of small islands here or disturbances here. This is more towards like mid to late 30s, I would say. But still, very long line, very significant relationship, maybe with some significant bumps, but seems to sort of become more clear with time.
Well, I separated from my husband when I was 38. So, yeah. And I also separated from some friends after like a 17-year relationship around my mid to late 30s as well. Because I was evolving into...
Comparing the two sides can show which relationships are more public or personal. Other relationship indicators can be found when looking at the fate and lifelines. The lifeline can show us important life events and our state of mood, health and wealth, whereas the fate line deals with life direction, career, responsibilities and priorities. Jennie has a joining line from Luna to her fate line, which is sometimes a sign of a new relationship. One joining line on your fate line here, which is about so about 35 there. A few years before 35, but it's fully aligns with the line at around 35. This could also be travel affecting your career, because it's coming from Luna, which is to do with travel, physical travel and mental travel. So yeah, with that it could be a specifically creative time for you, a time of physical travel, moving around, going to new places, or it could be that someone from your sort of like outer circle is joining you and supporting you.
That's when I first went to Thailand.
Cool. Were you working there?
Like far? No, just like went on a trip, but it was a massive deconditioning for me because my friend only booked one night for us, and I panicked for nearly, because I was a complete control freak back then. Like I panicked for nearly 6 months.
About being there for one night?
Well, we'd booked for 3 weeks, but we'd only booked one place for one night.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'd never done that before. So we'd booked it on the January and we were leaving in the August. And you've got to remember, I did events for how many years?
Yeah.
So when you do events, you're like
that
already in the future. So then to be like, you don't know what you're doing beyond day 2. Yeah. No. As you can imagine.
How did it go?
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. And literally I've travelled the world ever since. Sometimes I'll land in the country, go to someone at the airport and just say, have you got anywhere that you recommend as well? So yeah.
That's so cool. That's so brave.
Yeah. I'm a solo traveller now as a result of it.
Yeah, I loved that Jennie shared her experiences from that age because it gave the reading so much more depth. We can now look back and see how this experience played an important part in shifting her life direction in becoming more spontaneous and willing to travel freely. Looking at the other lines, we can sometimes see supporting information that adds another layer to the reading. On your lifeline at 35, you have another travel line here. And it's very long, and when it actually reaches the lunar mount like this one does, suggests that this is like a very important trip that kind of changes your whole outlook, changes your perspective, or you come back home sort of like almost a different person or with different priorities. So yeah, interesting that that's happening at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds like Thailand. Would it tell you what travel I've got coming up in the future?
You've got a really sort of outgoing lifeline here, and it doesn't usually veer out so much as people get older. It usually comes back in, you know, like we're starting to slow down, like getting...
I feel like I'm just getting started with the work that I'm here to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what we just mentioned. So, yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense because so this is your lifeline here,
Yeah.
and then let's change here, and let's change here, and then it comes out.
Is that my lifeline as well? Wow.
So it
Okay.
keeps pushing out. So every time that you see this new star, it's like moving, like going further past what we're used to, and again, and just like pushing out into the world, out of your comfort zone, either moving, doing something new. And let's have a look at the timings on this.
That's fascinating.
Here I'm marking out some ages on Jennie's lifeline. When we do this, we can see at which particular age you have certain experiences. Palm readers mark out these ages in different places based on where they learnt from, who they learnt from, and what has worked for them in their practice. So this is just my version.
So, yeah, you're about to, in maybe the next year or two, take another leap.
Which would make sense because my numerology is currently on 9, and next year it's back to 10/1.
Okay, what does that mean?
That means 9 is like nearly full completion, and 10 is ending of cycles, beginning of cycles, number 1.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think there'll be a lot going on because it seems like you have a bit of a double life here
Interesting.
for about 5, 6, 7, sort of 8 years.
So much for slowing down.
Yeah.
Okay.
No slowing down on this.
A really satisfying part of my practice is highlighting, encouraging, and validating potential, especially when that somewhat goes against societal norms. I fully believe that we're built and destined for different things, and that can sometimes be lost or even avoided in the noise of what is sensible and what others are doing. For example, in Jennie's case, it's probably more common for people in her age group to be locking in what they've been building and settling into structures or routines. And because of that, she might be questioning if she should follow suit. However, her hands tell a very different story.
But it's nice to see that your lifelines stay very clear and purposeful during these years. So you'll have lots of energy to back you up on.
Good.
And a lot of need to be active and be doing more, even though this is like generally a time when people start to like settle down or whatever. Like, it's not for you, and that's absolutely fine. There will be a time and a place. It looks like give it another 10, 15 years.
15 years, yeah. Because I can see it's continuing all the way to here.
Yeah, which
Right.
means that you are going to be very outgoing and active person, which is great.
Make sure to click the bell and get notified for part 2. Thank you so much for watching and putting up with my telephone voice. See you again soon!